Welcome back to the Motivated Mind Zone. Glad to have you here. Today we're doing a deep dive into something pretty interesting, maybe even a bit counterintuitive. It's what we think is the real shortcut to, well, getting fluent in a language. If you've spent ages, wrestling with tricky grammar, subjunctive moods, all that stuff, maybe it's time for a different approach. We're going to park the grammar books for a bit. Instead, we're focusing on the bread and butter of everyday language. Those simple, maybe even mundane conversations you have constantly, the ones that make up, like most of your day. We're talking about the practical language, the scripts that help you stop doing that mental translation thing and actually start living in English. So our mission today, we've got a whole bunch of real-world conversation examples, and we're going to pull out the key bits, the stuff that builds that linguistic muscle memory. The goal is confidence, flow, making it feel natural.
Yeah, that internal translation, that pause, right, where you hear something and then there's that silence while you figure out how to reply. That's really the fluency killer. And what's great about the sources we're looking at today is they give you a kind of blueprint, a blueprint for the most common high-frequency language situations. We're talking specific repeatable phrases for everything from, saying good morning at home to using an ATM, even explaining symptoms to a doctor. Look, the point isn't knowing 1,000 super complex words. It's about knowing the 10 essential phrases so well, so automatically that you don't even think about them. It's consistency, really. Consistency over complexity. That's the superpower we're trying to isolate today.
Okay, right. Let's unpack this then, starting with, I guess, the big question, why? Why should someone aiming for, real proficiency bother mastering something that seems, well, kind of basic, like morning greetings?
That's a fair question. But the insight is right there in the simplicity. The core idea, the thesis here, is that fluency isn't some endpoint you reach through complexity. It's a habit built through using simple language, consistently, over and over. Think of it like building muscle memory. Let's take a simple phrase, like asking for directions. Where's the nearest subway station? If you use the best, most natural way to ask that 10 times a day, by the end of the week, that phrase isn't sitting in your textbook rules memory anymore. It's moved. It's in your procedural memory, the part that just does things automatically, unconsciously. And that difference, that's the gap between knowing English and actually using it day to day.
Okay, so you're basically freeing up your brain's processing power, right? Automating the easy stuff frees you up for the harder stuff. It makes fluency sound less like genius and more like efficient programming almost, deliberate automation. So where does this automation journey begin? Our sources point straight to the morning routine. Seems like a perfect starting point for this kind of training. Building connection, building flow.
Absolutely. And if you really look at how native speakers talk in the morning, it's not just about facts. It's social. It's maintenance. Take the simplest exchange. Good morning. Did you sleep well? Oh. And the reply, maybe something like, yeah, slept okay. Think I need coffee to wake up properly, though. These seem like throwaway lines, right? But linguistically, they're doing something important. It's called phatic communication. It's language used just to connect, to maintain the social link, not really about conveying deep information.
Right. So it's not about getting a detailed sleep report. It's more like acknowledging the other person, opening a friendly channel for the day. But why is the grammar in that response, I slept okay, so important then if the info isn't the main point?
Because it drills the simple past tense. Slept. It's high frequency, and you need it instantly. When you're half awake grabbing coffee, you don't want to be mentally flipping through verb tables thinking, okay, action completed last night. Simple past. No, you need I slept okay to just come out, fully formed. And that little tag, I think I need coffee. That's important too. It practices using need for necessity, another really common function. You master these little chunks, these phrases, and you cut out the hesitation. It becomes automatic.
And this training carries on while getting ready, doesn't it? The sources mention things like, is it going to be cold today? Or do I need an umbrella? Basic stuff, but crucial practice.
Exactly. They look simple, but they're practiced for talking about current conditions, making little predictions based on what you see or know. And they train your brain to pick the right future form. Asking, is it going to be cold? Uses be going to. That implies you're predicting based on some evidence, maybe the weather forecast. It's different from, say, a spontaneous decision made right now. And the answers you get or give, they teach you how to offer advice or information, often using those modal verbs like should or might.
Like responding, yeah, it's a bit chilly, you should probably wear a jacket, or maybe, forecast said it might rain later.
Precisely. You've got should for advice, it's softer than must, and might for probability.
Mm.
See, you're practicing these subtle tools that signal how certain you are or what you intend. If you practice giving and receiving this kind of simple advice every day, the structure, the vocabulary, it just becomes second nature. You're learning how to navigate the world in English, not just translate weather reports.
Okay, let's move into the kitchen then. This seems to be where we practice asking, offering, and getting the politeness right. Offering food. Would you like some eggs? Or maybe, do you want toast or cereal?
Yeah, and it's a great place to look at modals again, especially would. Using would you like is noticeably more polite, more natural sounding in English than just asking, do you want?
Mm.
That difference between want and would like, it's a massive social shortcut, shows a bit of deference, social awareness. It instantly makes your English sound, well, a bit more polished, even though the words themselves are really simple.
And how you respond is just as critical for fitting in socially, right? We often see simple, direct answers like, I'll have toast, please, or maybe a polite, no, just coffee for me today, thanks.
Notice the I'll have there. That contraction, I'll for I will. In this context, will isn't about a strong future prediction. It's used for a quick, spontaneous decision made right at that moment. I'll have toast, please. Ooh. That's a key difference between textbook English and how people actually talk. Fluent speakers pick will here automatically for that immediate choice. And the sources also point out using short, specific answers for clarity. Like if someone asks about milk or sugar in coffee, saying, no, I like it black. Using black is that clear, quick descriptor. Getting consistent with these tiny exchanges is what removes that mental effort, that cognitive drag.
Okay, so we've practiced in the safety of home. Now we take that automated language out into the real world. The coffee shop comes up a lot. It's universal, high frequency, and usually pretty low stakes, right? Makes it a perfect practice zone for getting specific about what you want, the standard script. Server says, hi, what can I get for you? You reply, I'd like a cappuccino, please.
That simple phrase, I'd like, it's actually packed with transactional politeness. It's concise, it's clear, it's courteous. But then comes the critical moment, the decision point where you have to be clear. They might ask, would you like that hot or iced? Or what size would you like? You need to be ready to state your preference clearly, confidently. I'll take the iced, medium size, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Practicing these simple choices, hot or cold, small, medium, large, until the answer just rolls off your tongue, that's how you build fluency for transactions.
Okay, but let me push back a little here. Wouldn't an advanced learner want to show they know multiple ways to order? Why automate just one phrase like I'd like?
That's a good point. Knowing different ways is great, definitely. But automating the most common, most efficient one like I'd like, that's the shortcut. Because when you're under pressure, maybe there's a queue behind you, it's noisy. Your brain tends to grab the automated script. So if you automate the best one, the clearest and most polite one, you guarantee you sound good even when you're flustered or rushed. Makes sense.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Safety net thinking. What about wrapping up the interaction? That polite closure you mentioned. Avoiding awkwardness at the end.
It's really important. It smoothly signals the end of the ordering part. When the cashier asks, anything else? A lot of learners stumble. Maybe they nod or start explaining something unnecessary. The fluent, automated response is usually, no, that's all, thank you. Or if you're paying, maybe just this, thanks. It gives a really clear signal. Okay, I'm done ordering. Let's move to payment. It's a small courtesy, but it speeds things up and makes the whole interaction smoother.
Right. But life isn't just transactions. We bump into people. Small talk happens. That social glue of being out in public. Maybe you see someone you know while waiting for that cappuccino. Hey, didn't know you came here. And the typical reply, yeah, pretty often. How are things? Pretty good, just busy as usual.
And this is where you practice keeping the conversation flowing, keeping it light. That response, pretty good, busy as usual, it's kind of neutral, isn't it? It doesn't demand a deep answer, but it keeps the door open. The real skill here is being able to pivot, to ask a simple, open-ended question back like, what about you? What have you been up to? That's critical. If you can automate these simple questions into simple, positive but vague answers, you avoid those awkward silences. You build a bit of rapport. It's like social lubrication, using language.
Moving on to shopping then. This
Yeah.
is about becoming independent, right? Getting what you need requires clear, simple requests like asking for help. Excuse me, where can I find the bread?
Yes, and the sources really stress understanding directions within a store, spatial stuff,
Yeah.
prepositions. The reply might be, it's in aisle 5 next to the milk. Notice the prepositions. In for the general area, the aisle, next to for the specific spot. You're training your brain to hear those words and instantly picture the location. That's a vital skill, not just for shopping, but for navigating anywhere, travel, new places.
And then the money part. Practical vocab is key. How much is this? Or maybe, is this on sale?
Absolutely. And it's not just asking the question. You need to understand the answer, which might come quickly, involve numbers, maybe jargon, like, it's $5, but they're buy one, get one free this week. Can you process that instantly? And a deeper point here is that asking, is this on sale, often needs a follow-up, depending on where you are. Like, is that price including tax?
Right.
Asking that shows real practical understanding.
The sources also mention those unexpected encounters running into someone you know. That sudden switch from task mode finding bread to social mode,
Yeah,
that really tests fluency, doesn't it?
it really does. Hey, fancy seeing you here. And then maybe a quick chat about why you're there. Oh, I was just picking up a few things for dinner.
Hmm.
Being able to switch tone and context like that instantly, that's fluency in action. You're using the past continuous tense there, I was just picking up, to describe what you were doing right before that moment. It's a super common structure for explaining recent activity and nailing it automatically without thinking about the grammar rule. That shows you're processing the world through English, not just translating.
Okay, so as we move through the day, the situations might get a bit more serious. The language stakes get higher. Clarity becomes even more critical, even if the words are still simple. We're moving into logistics now, asking for and giving directions, like when you're lost or helping someone else.
Yes, and this demands real precision. The request itself is straightforward. Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to the post office? Simple enough. But the answer needs to be crystal clear, using sequence words, unambiguous prepositions like go straight down this road, take the second left, and it's right next to the bank.
What are the typical mistakes learners make here? The things we need to automate against?
Often it's confusion with prepositions of place and direction. For example, mixing up turn left on the corner versus turn left at the corner. Subtle but confusing. Or maybe saying go straight when go straight ahead feels a bit more natural or complete in context. And knowing the difference between a simple command, go straight, and maybe a more helpful conditional, if you see the big blue building, you've gone too far, that adds clarity. Again, it's not about using complex sentences. It's about choosing the clearest, most efficient way to get the message across, especially when someone's relying on you not to get lost.
Right. Then we hit those more formal situations, the clinic, the bank, places where mistakes in communication could have real consequences, health and money.
Definitely. In a doctor's office or clinic, precision is key. The check-in is usually automated. Hello, I have an appointment at 10 hour with Dr. Smith. Easy enough. But when you have to describe symptoms, You need to get the tense right, usually the present perfect continuous or present perfect simple to show duration. The doctor asks, "So what seems to be the problem today?" Your answer needs structure. "Well, I've had this headache for about 2 days now," or "I've been feeling nauseous since yesterday."
That I've had, or I've been feeling, is crucial, isn't it? It tells the doctor it started in the past but is still happening, or the effect is still present. Much better than just saying, I had a headache.
Exactly. "I had a headache" implies it's finished. "I've had a headache" communicates that ongoing reality, which is medically important. And you also need to practice understanding instructions, like take this medication twice a day with food. You need to instantly grasp frequency, twice a day, and condition, with food.
And the bank. Similar need for specific direct language, right? Especially
Right.
about financial products.
Very similar. The language can feel technical, but it's used consistently. "I'd like to open a new account, please." Then comes the immediate decision, often requiring specific vocabulary. "Okay, would you like a savings account or a checking account?" Or current account in the UK. That's a binary choice. You need that vocabulary instantly, and you need to be ready to ask clarifying questions, too. Things like, "Are there any monthly maintenance fees?" Or "What's the current interest rate on the savings account?" Mastering these scripts is vital for managing your money independently.
Okay, and finally in this section, dining out. A really common scenario. Ordering, being polite, closing the deal.
Right. The order itself should be simple, direct, often using "I'll have" or "I'd like." "Yes, I'll have the grilled chicken with rice, please." See the "please" tucked in there. Automatic politeness. But the real learning here is the whole flow of the meal. From confirming the order, maybe asking for something extra later. "Excuse me, could I get some more water, please?" Using "could" makes the request very polite.
And just like the coffee shop, sticking the landing matters, closing the transaction smoothly.
Absolutely. It shapes the final impression. When the server asks, "Would you like the bill?" or the check, and the U.S. need to know both, you respond simply, "Yes, please." Then maybe the practical question, "Can I pay by card?"
Hmm.
And crucially, offering that little bit of social feedback at the end, "Thank you, the food was great."
Mm.
That final positive comment isn't just filler, it's basic good manners. It shows you can use English not just to get things done, but to express simple, genuine appreciation.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of the functional transactional stuff, getting things done, but language is more than that, isn't it? Now we need to get into situations that need a bit more emotional touch, social nuance, moving beyond just tasks and into connection.
Exactly. We can call this developing emotional fluency. It's about showing you understand feelings, offering support, apologizing sincerely, moving beyond just the facts of what happened. The sources had a really good example. Someone tells you, "Oh no, I think I've lost my wallet."
Right, you can't just respond, okay, that would be
Right.
cold. You need empathy.
Precisely. The empathetic response isn't just acknowledging the loss. "Oh no, that's terrible." It often involves initiating help, asking something practical. "Oh gosh, do you remember where you last had it?" And maybe offering action. "Let's retrace your steps together." These phrases teach you how to use language to show you care, to validate the other person's stress, and to offer real help. It builds your emotional intelligence in English. And grammatically, that question, "Do you remember where you last had it?" reinforces using the past perfect, had, implied, in conversation to pinpoint a specific past moment before another past event, losing it.
And this applies to apologies too, right? Getting beyond just a quick, sorry, making it sound like you mean it.
Definitely. A good, sincere apology often has a few parts. You acknowledge what you did wrong, maybe give a brief reason without making excuses, and offer reassurance. For instance, "Look, I'm really sorry I forgot to reply to your message." Then maybe, "Things have been crazy." And finally, "Thanks for understanding. I definitely didn't mean to ignore you." Hmm. That structure, apology, reason, context, reassurance makes it feel much more complete and genuine. It also practices useful structures like using "forgot to" or "didn't mean to."
Okay, shifting gears slightly. Expressing yourself, your own personality in English. Likes, dislikes, appreciation. Essential for connection. Things like, I really enjoy listening to music when I cook. Or softening a negative, I'm not really a big fan of horror movies.
Yeah, that ability to soften negativity is a really useful social skill in English. Saying, I'm not a fan of, or it's not really my thing, sounds much less harsh than a flat, I hate horror movies, shows nuance. And on the flip side, practicing appreciation, giving compliments naturally. Wow, I love your dress. It looks great on you. The grammar is simple, present tense mostly, but it's about recognizing the moment and having the phrase ready.
And being able to receive a compliment well is also a skill, isn't it? Not getting awkward.
Yes, graceful acceptance is key. A simple, warm, oh, thanks so much. That's really kind of you. Or thank you. I just got it, actually. That shows humility, appreciation. It avoids that awkward deflection people sometimes do. These little back and forth solidify positive social habits.
We also have to talk about modern life. Digital communication, texting, emails, online meetings requires shifting your tone automatically, right? Based on who you're talking to and where.
Oh, the tone shift is huge. Look at informal texting. It's all about being concise, fast. Hey, free this weekend. Yep, movie. Sounds fun. Let's firm up by fray.
Mm.
You see abbreviations, contractions, short sentences, even omitted words. Brevity is the fluency there. Knowing what you can leave out.
But then you switch straight to writing a formal email, and all that casualness is suddenly wrong.
Totally wrong. Instantly, you need the formal structure, the polite opening. Dear Mr. Davis, clearly stating the purpose. I'm writing to inquire if the meeting scheduled for Tuesday is still confirmed. Providing context, polite closing. It shows you have to mentally compartmentalize your English. Different styles for different platforms and different relationships. That ability to switch is fluency.
And finally, the online meeting space. Group communication where you might not have all the visual cues. Clarity is paramount.
Yeah, the language there is often about managing the flow and making sure everyone's on the same page. Technical checks, can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
And managing contributions politely. If I could just jump in here, or building on what Maria just said, I'd like to add.
Yeah.
Practicing these functional phrases means you can participate effectively, make your point clearly, and manage the conversation in a professional group setting, especially when you can't rely on body language as much. Okay, so this final section really brings everything together. It circles back to that core principle we started with. Fluency isn't something you just get. It's a habit you build. And it's built by consistently, deliberately practicing these simple, everyday scripts until they become completely automatic. No translation needed.
Right. And that means weaving the language into how you talk about your own life, your routines, your goals, like discussing your daily schedule. I usually wake up around 6 a.m., then I do some stretching, or sharing aspirations. I really want to improve my English this year and maybe read more books in English. This is just a high volume practice of really common structures, isn't it? Simple present for habits, want to for goals.
Exactly. These are the workhorse tenses and structures. They need to be absolutely automatic. If you can talk about your routine accurately using words like usually, sometimes, every morning, you've nailed the simple present for habits. And mastering that frees up your mental energy. So when you do need a more complex tense, like the future perfect or whatever, you actually have the brain space to construct it correctly because the basics are on autopilot.
We also need to practice those slightly less frequent but still essential community interactions. Things like going to the post office, the library, maybe borrowing something from a neighbor.
Yeah, this is where some specific vocabulary might come in, but again, it's usually within a simple script. At the post office, hi, I'd like to send this package to Canada, please. And then being ready for the follow-up questions about service level. Okay, would you like standard shipping or express? Or do you need tracking on that? And with neighbors, it's often about polite requests and gratitude. Hi, Sarah, could I possibly borrow your ladder for an hour? Using could and possibly makes it super polite. And then remembering the follow-up, thanks so much again, that was a huge help. These interactions build your confidence functioning within the community.
I think maybe the most powerful technique mentioned in the sources, though, is the one you can do anytime, anywhere, completely alone. No need for a conversation partner. It's the power of self-talk and reflection. Sounds like the ultimate fluency hack.
It really is. You're eliminating it. That's the goal. And then you pair that with self-encouragement and reflection. This builds your awareness of your own language use. Using phrases that practice reflecting on the past, acknowledging effort, celebrating small wins. Phew, it's been a long day, but actually, I'm pretty proud of what I managed to get done. Or maybe acknowledging a mistake, but framing it positively. Okay, I made a mistake on that email earlier, but I spotted it and corrected it. That's progress, right? These reflective phrases not only boost your confidence, but they give you practice with past tenses, perfect tenses, modal verbs of reflection, all really useful stuff.
It really ties it all together, doesn't it? True, effortless fluency clicks in when you start constantly translating in your head, and these simple everyday conversations practiced consistently are the absolute key to building that automaticity. Every little chat, every internal thought in English, it's all training. Hashtag tag outro. So we've kind of unpacked a simple, maybe even obvious truth today. The secret to sounding natural and fluent. It's not hidden away in some advanced grammar textbook. It's woven right into the fabric of your everyday life. Every single interaction you have, ordering that iced coffee, showing empathy when someone's stressed, asking for directions each one is a powerful step. A step towards rewiring your brain for automatic, natural English flow. Remember, you're not just learning lists of words, you're building the linguistic muscle memory you need to actually live through the language.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe as a final thought for you, the listener, to take away, think about maybe the three most common or maybe most important exchanges you have regularly right now. Could be checking in with your partner about their day, maybe dealing with your landlord about something, or just that quick chat at the grocery checkout. Take those specific interactions. Think about the real way they happen, the pauses, the feelings, the actual words needed. Now, figure out the simplest, clearest, most effective English scripts for those specific moments, and then start practicing them out loud to yourself. Make them your personal mantras for a while. That focused, consistent practice. That's how you turn just living your life into actively learning and improving.
Start automating those basics today. Stay consistent, and you will see your fluency shift from something you think about to something that just flows effortlessly. Thanks so much for tuning in for this deep dive on building conversational confidence. Now, go out there and start talking.